Now we'll begin the webinar. So a very good evening to all the panelists and attendees. I'm Kushi Javeri from Keio University, and today we are here for the Global Network Project of University of Tokyo India office. This project aims to attract students primarily from South Asia to encourage them to pursue their further studies in Japan. In today's webinar, we have been joined by a couple of renowned universities in Japan. Each of these universities will give us a 20-minute presentation about their programs offered in undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral levels. There'll be a 20-minute presentation by each of these universities, and then we'll have a 5-minute Q&A session. Students are free to ask questions to the panelists in the Q&A box and not the chat box. Again, please make sure to ask your questions in the Q&A box. And panelists, please make sure to turn off your video and audio when not presenting. Now I'll share the agenda of today's webinar. So today we'll commence the webinar by a brief introduction by Ms. Sakshi, the Program Assistant of Tokyo India office. Then we'll have a presentation by Mr. Gupta from the University of Tokyo for the overview of study and work life in Japan, followed by a presentation by Shizuoka University by Professor Deo from the Organization for International Collaboration. Then we'll have a presentation by Keio University by Professor Hagino from the Faculty of Environment and Information Studies and Mr. Daikoku from the Graduate School of Media and Governance. Lastly, we'll have a presentation by University of Tsukuba by Mr. Mahdi Katsumata Shah, the university's international administrator. Now I'd like to request Ms. Sakshi to commence the webinar by a brief introduction.
Thank you, Ms. Kushi. Hello, everyone, and again, to this webinar. My name is Sakshi Roy. I'm the Program Assistant at Tokyo India office, and this program is hosted by the University of Tokyo India office and is sponsored by MEX, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology in Japan. So today is the 9th day of our webinar series, and all these webinars is basically designed to introduce you to some of the best Japanese universities, and we will be discussing the various program offerings and opportunities to study and work in Japan in an online session. So there will be 3 Japanese universities representing in each session: national, public, and private universities. All the universities are basically focusing on introducing English-based programs that are offered by them. So you do not need to worry about your Japanese language proficiency. We, as a part of a Study in Japan Global Network project in Southwest Asia by MEX, provides comprehensive information on Japanese universities, and we organize education fairs and seminars throughout India. So as you all know, we are facing a very unprecedented situation in which we have to basically go online and conduct all our sessions online. You may be having a lot of questions. So today we have our expert group of panelists here with us to answer your queries. Lastly, I know 20 minutes presentation is very short time to understand about the university, but it's okay if your question hasn't been answered during the session. I request all attendees to please note down the contact addresses of respective universities, and then you can ask them directly later on by writing them. So thank you very much for listening to me. Please enjoy today's session, and don't forget to register and join us for our next session tomorrow at 1 p.m. IST. I hope our sessions will help you to consider studies in Japan. Thank you very much. Over to you, Kushi-san.
Thank you, Ms. Sakshi, for the introduction. I will reshare the agenda slide. Now I'd like to request Mr. Gupta from University of Tokyo for the overview of study and work life in Japan.
Thank you, Ms. Kushi. So I will be sharing my screen now. Yeah. So hello, everyone. I will give a very short overview of why Japan is a rising magnet for foreign talent to study and work in Japan. So whenever we are applying to universities, why Japan in general? So Japan has the 3rd largest economy in the world, which is propelled by automobile and consumer electronic industries. It has the highest employment rate among all the developed G7 nations. Life in Japan is very peaceful and full of opportunities. It is evident from the fact that Japanese cities like Tokyo and Osaka have featured in various city rankings like most livable cities, best student cities, and many more. Only a country like Japan can make the world most populous metropolitan region as one of the most livable city in the world. Transportation modes are very convenient and punctual in Japan. Japan provides exceptional and excellent international cuisine options like Indian, Chinese, continental, European, etc. Japan also provides an excellent health insurance coverage for students via its national health insurance, which is one of the best in the world. So, Japanese university system can be divided into three main categories: national, public, and private. There are various English programs offered by these universities. To give an overview, there are around 19 undergraduate courses in 40 different universities offered in English, 160 master courses in different 50 universities offered in English. It is also important to understand the difference between the administ, sorry, admission process in Japan and your respective countries. In Japan, administration process is controlled by the universities, unlike in India, where most of the admissions are centralized and done by means of various exams like JEE, NEET, and GATE. The facilities offered to students is unparalleled and one of the best in the world, like the huge library, research labs, student lounge, and also university dormitories offered a very peace living environment for a well balanced academic and personal life. Admission for international students is in bachelor's, it's through two ways. One is entrance exam and the second one is by SOPs or essays. In master's and PhD courses, it is established contact, so you have to establish contact with your supervisors and follow the rest of the proceedings. There is a financial aid provided by various Japanese government generous scholarships like MEST and JASO, and other local government and international association in the form of various scholarships. The tuition fee, if we compare with United States, is one-fifth for the public universities and around one-third for the private universities. Even the living expenses is very much, it's not comparatively less than that in the US. So for job opportunities in Japan is huge. Average salary of a graduate student in Japan is 3.9 million yen per year. Also, Japan has the lowest unemployment rate upon approximately 2.34%. And also you get to interact with a lot of international Japanese companies like Nintendo, Canon, Mazda, and all. Also, you can also apply to various global companies who have their subsidiaries in Japan. Also, most of these global companies offer internship and part-time job, which can be used to sustain yourselves in living in Japan. One extra thing that I would like to mention here is that the visa procedure for working in Japan is very, very simple. The transition from student visa to a working visa, unlike many developed nations like US and UK, is very easy and very smooth, as you just and thus you can have a very satisfying and financial rewarding career in Japan after completion of your education, rather than going back to your home country and then coming back. So for my life in Japan, I will show various photographs over here to show. So I'm an environmental science student here in Japan. So I love nature. So I have a lot of nature. I visit a lot of nature sites. So this is a photograph of cherry blossom in Japan. This is a photograph of farewell for one of the Indian student who was a postdoctoral researcher in my lab. This is a tulip garden in Japan, which is a yearly garden, which you can see anytime. This is one of the program that I joined through University of Tokyo, and I went to Los Angeles to do interview of various um, movie theaters. This is my classmates in the formal dinner. This is the campus during the fall. They have very nice trees with yellow leaves. This is my first photograph of my Mount Fuji when I came to Japan. This is a little experiment to find out that I'm doing to find out the electrical properties of oxides. And every river in Tokyo has a riverside cycling path where you can cycle and enjoy the nature. Also, this lastly, I would like to show one of the round rotis that I cooked in Japan myself. I wish you all young students all the very best and eagerly looking forward to meet some of you very soon. Now I finish here and I will hand it over to Miss Kushi.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta, for the presentation. I will reshare the agenda slide. Now we have a presentation by Shizuoka University. So Shizuoka University is one of the leading national universities in Japan. The prime location of the campus and the unique programs available to international students make the university stand out. One can explore various cultures and learn Japanese while specializing in their respective fields. Scholarships are also provided at the university. Now I'd like to request Mr. Deo to give us an insight into the university.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kushi. Good evening to everybody, and I'm very grateful to the whole team for organizing this webinar successfully. And this has been a very great opportunity for everybody in Japan to get in touch with students and people who are interested in studying in higher education here in Japan. And I would like to say thanks again to Yamauchi Sensei and the whole team from Tokyo University for organizing this. With that, very good presentation from earlier presenter. So first I would like to show a video about Shizuoka University. Just a minute, I'll share my screen. Just a minute, please. Okay. So thank you very much for everybody for watching that video. I hope you got a glimpse of Shizuoka. And I will start my presentation now. I'll share my slide. Just a minute. Okay, so I'll start my presentation now. I hope everybody can listen to me.
Yes, you're audible and we can see your presentation.
Thank you very much. So this is Mount Fuji, and we can see Sakura also. This is a symbol of, it's a mountain which is very famous, and it's a symbol of Japan. And it is located in Shizuoka. And it will be surprising for you to see it every day. From Tokyo, you can see maybe some days, and from Kyoto and Osaka, I don't know, but Kyoto some days. But from Shizuoka University, you can see it every day. And as shown in the video also, it is situated right, Shizuoka University. Shizuoka Prefecture is right in the middle of Japan. And we are easily accessible from both Tokyo and Nagoya International Airport. And Shizuoka University is in Shizuoka Prefecture, and Shizuoka Prefecture is rich in environment, and many companies are here, and especially famous companies like Suzuki, which is very popular in India also, and piano makers, Yamaha, and very good fruits, hot springs, and strawberries and green tea. So all the healthy things necessary for a living person, living being, are here available in Shizuoka Prefecture. And I hope all of you, when you join us, you can enjoy it. So broadly speaking, Shizuoka University has 6 faculties, and we have 2 research institutes. Approximately, we have 11,000 students with a good number of international students also. And the number of students is increasing day by day. Even from India, the number of students is almost, before post-COVID situation, the number was increasing. 33 and other more number were there. Unfortunately, at present, it's a little bit less, but we hope to increase the intake again from India. So as an outline, Shizuoka University is a national university, and it is one of the top university in the region. We have our exchange partners from a different 80 different universities and institutes from Europe and Asia. We have double degree programs with different universities. We have overseas offices in Southeast Asia, as you can see, Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam. And hopefully we'll open one day in India also, just like Tokyo University. And we have close link with the local industry, local government. In today's presentation, I'm going to talk about Asia Bridge program, which is a undergraduate and master's program. And I'll especially highlight the master's program, which is in English. So as I told you before, the number of students from Asia in Shizuoka University is very high, and from India is also very good, around 33 as per the 2016 data. It's a little bit old data I'm showing. And Shizuoka University, we are promoting interdisciplinary research fields and focusing on new emerging fields, focused on solving environmental issues like green bioscience and using imaging, optical applications for imaging science, and such fields are emerging. And for young minds, it's very invigorating. I hope when you join us, you'll find it new challenges in these fields. So now I'm going to talk about Asia Bridge program. It's a financially supported program with extensive industry link, and we have a very good international admissions process. This is a picture of few of our students, Asian students. And as I told you before, it's the undergraduate program and graduate program, both we have for bachelor's and master's program. These are the various faculties as shown in the slide. And we take 40 students each, more or less, approximately. And for bachelor's program, this is specifically focused on these countries mentioned here. Master's course is more wide. And in both the programs, as you can see, India is there. And these are the number of students for master's course. As I told you, we take approximately 40 students per year. As already highlighted by previous presenter, Mr. Gupta, the master's program here in Japan is basically more research based. Of course, we have some courses to take, compulsory credits you have to take, but more or less it is your research work and your publications you have to do. So you have to be a specialist in your subject, and there are, as per ABP program, we have supporting courses to help them in get necessary credits. We have Japanese lessons also we give to interested students who want to improve their language skills. But primarily the focus in master's degree will be on the research work, laboratory work, research project, and finally the dissertation. You have to give defend your research work in order to get your degree. And for future career, we give career guidance, and there are opportunities as internship where local companies who are interested in hiring Indian nationals for their job. And we arrange the meetings with industry. As also again told by previous presenter, the fees, scholarships and tuition fees is very attractive here in Japan. And with the ABP program, our application fee is free, enrollment fee is free. And the tuition for this year is, first year is like full tuition scholarships are there. And compared to other international students, as you can see, you have to pay a huge sum of amounts. But compared to United States, again, it's negligible or quite less. And for second year, scholarships and tuition fees will depend upon your academic grades and performance. If you have been an excellent student through and through, I'm pretty sure that you will get full tuition scholarships, or else it will be reduced to 50%. And living cost in Shizuoka compared to other bigger cities in Japan is relatively cheaper. You just need 70,000 Japanese yen to live comfortably here in Shizuoka. So these are the few of the faculties who are offering the master's program. It's in informatics, masters in mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biological science, geoscience, and in engineering also all these fields. And then masters in agriculture, as you can see. And I'm so sorry, in the engineering fields, there are many fields in India where students are interested, like in civil engineering or something like that we don't have, or aeronautics. But related field of research interests are there. But in order to find that out, you have to go to the faculty web page and look at it. So how to apply for master's course? The process is relatively simple compared to the process in India, where there are a lot of central government administered examinations. The first step is to find a prospective academic supervisor in whose lab you would like to do your master's research work and subsequently give a dissertation. And once you have decided that, you have to check the supervisor online and contact him and request an affirmation from him about the available position in his lab. And then you can submit all the necessary documents, transcripts, your research background information and others. This is all by online submission. And you can submit these documents. And once everything is processed, you'll be invited for an interview test, which will be the panel members from that particular faculty, and they will ask certain questions to see your competence. And once everything is done, you'll get your necessary documents for visa processing and coming to Japan. And all these things are being done online. So these are the two campuses pictures I'm showing you here. Left topmost is from Shizuoka campus. The right, the middle, top middle is the Hamamatsu campus. And these are few of the students taking part in international, this is the welcome ceremonies. So these are the two dormitories in two different campuses. In Shizuoka and Hamamatsu, we have two campuses. And they are relatively the 5-year-old picture, but they're relatively very new and very well furnished in good conditions. Each unit has, each floor or each unit has 5 rooms, and each person gets a separate room with common shared kitchen and lavatories. And you'll meet different people from Southeast Asian countries, and you can make friends with them, and it's a very livable and harmonious environment. So if you all are, anybody is interested, please write down this information, or if you are interested later on, you can send me a chat message and I can provide the same information again. And this email ID, global@adb.shizuoka.ac.jp is continuously being monitored by our staff. And if you have any queries, send us an email, or you can look up at the webpage. We also host many international events. This is one such event, Inter Academia Asia, and it's especially focused on Southeast Asian countries. And as you can see, there are many countries from Southeast Asia. From India, we have our two partner universities, SRM and Anna University from South India. We have recently one from Assam, also East, and Naipur in Chandigarh, Mohali. So it's increasing, and hopefully it will increase more, the number of collaborators. So we hold these occasional meetings in Indonesia. We held it in Indonesia. We did it in Thailand, in Vietnam, and one day we hope to do that in India also. Thank you very much for your attention, and we welcome you here, and we hope to see you in Shizuoka. This is further more contact information. You can take a picture and get in touch with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Deo, for the very comprehensive presentation. It would be great if you could share the links on the chat box so that students can refer to them.
Sure.
And now we'll start the 5-minute Q&A session. Would you like to pick up a few questions from the Q&A box?
Okay, from Q&A box, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
I could pick up a few questions.
Okay. Yeah, that's great also, please.
Is there any MBA course for biotechnology, BTech?
I'm sorry, we don't have a well-established MBA program.
Okay. And what are the PhD programs available in Shizuoka University?
So we have PhD programs in ongoing PhD program. Anybody can apply for a PhD, provided the guide or principal investigator, he is willing to accept him, and the research interest between the principal investigator or the professor matches that with that of the student.
Okay. Are there any computer science undergraduate or graduate courses?
Yes, we have many such computer science related and computer science field research areas, which is being done in informatics department, Faculty of Informatics. So we focused on AI, IoT, Internet of Things, and all such things.
Okay. I think you had mentioned earlier that civil engineering is not provided, but is mechanical engineering
Yeah,
there?
we have a very well-established faculty for mechanical engineering involving all the different research fields in that. Yes.
Is it for masters or for undergraduate?
Both. We even they even have PhD programs also. All the faculties, they offer PhD programs,
Okay.
plus masters and undergraduate.
Is EJU mandatory, the EJU examination?
For master's program, I think so. EJU is not mandatory. For undergraduate, you need a EJU score. And for master's course, I think so. Somebody has asked a question, do you have to submit a research plan? And I think so, yes, you have to submit a research plan for master's course to the professor in charge in whose lab you want to join.
Um, I suppose that the EJU examination was cancelled due to the pandemic. So what is there any other alternative? Or
Please, regarding that, is it for undergraduate program?
that's not really specified. I suppose undergraduate.
Okay, so as per our examination panel, the members who are taking care about examination, they continuously update the website. As far as I know, EJU is mandatory for undergraduate program. If there are some changes or some because of some COVID situation, things have changed. Please look up at the website, and based on the guidelines and advice on the website, please follow them and apply accordingly.
Okay. Are the classes currently being held online? Is the next semester also online or on campus?
So we have many courses which are online also, and there are many courses which are being done face to face. And there are many professors who even upload the whole course in videos, and students get the watch those videos when and wherever they like, and submit their homeworks and such things.
Professor, we can pick up we can pick up two more questions. Is there any question you would like to answer particularly?
Okay, so I think so. Somebody has asked, securing a university recommend a next scholarship for a PhD position. I think so. Next scholarships, Amondusha Kagaksha scholarships. You have to select your professor, and then in consultation with the professor, please submit the application for next scholarships. And based on the next, and there is a competitive scholarship, you might be successful. So please consult with the professor in whose lab you want to do PhD. Okay.
Also, Professor, there's one question, a very common question actually. Are there courses on cultural studies or only Japanese language at Shizuoka University?
I didn't catch your question properly.
Are there courses or like programs that focus on cultural studies or Japanese language only?
So there is a Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences.
Okay, yeah.
So they might cover that area. I'm not very sure about the question which you asked.
Yeah,
But I think
actually, this question, I'm not quite sure if I understood the students' question, but I think many students are interested in learning about the Japanese culture.
yeah,
So I suppose that will be covered in if you take social sciences or
yes,
international relations.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
thank you so much.
yeah. Okay.
And Professor, I think we can I don't think there are any other questions. You can continue answering the questions when other universities are presenting.
Okay, thank
There
you
are
very much.
there are a couple of questions in the Q&A box, so you can respond to them anytime.
Sure, I will do that.
And Professor, it would be great if you could share a few links to the chat box.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye-bye.
We'll proceed with the agenda slide now. I'll share my screen again. Now we'll have a presentation by Keio University. So Keio University is an eminent private university in Japan, founded by Yukichi Fukuzawa, a notable public figure often found in the 10,000 yen banknote in Japan. Keio University is a world-class research institution with undergraduate and graduate programs in many disciplines. It has 7 international partners and is also home to many notable alumni, including CEOs and prime ministers. Now I'd like to request Professor Hagino and Mr. Daikuku to give us an insight into the university.
Thank you very much, Ms. Krishna. I'm Tatsuya Hagino. I'm a professor at the Faculty of Embedded Information Studies. And first of all, thank very much to Tokyo University to holding this meeting and giving us the opportunity to explain our university to a lot of students in India. And let's start sharing my slide. Yes, thank you. I hope you can see my slide. I'm actually from something called SFC, Shonan Fujita campus. I will explain more about what this means and also about the GIGA program that I would like to explain today. And this is the agenda today. First of all, I will explain the whole university, Keio University. Then about the campus I belong, Shonan Fujita campus, we shortened it to the SFC. Then about student life at SFC, Hideo Daikoku will explain this part. And scholarships and housing, and closing about the explain about the admission for the GIGA program. First of Keio University, as Ms. Kushina explained, we have the various campuses, and we have Mita campus. This is the headquarters. Actually, we started in 1858 from Mita. The main campus featuring about the humanities sciences, and we also have the medical school in Shinonomachi and the pharmacy in the Shiba Kyoritsu. And in Yokohama, or next to the Tokyo, we have the Kanagawa Prefecture. We have 3 campuses, Hiyoshi for general education, and Yagami for science and technology. And the last one is SFC, Shonan Fujita campus, for the integration of technology and social science. And we have 10 undergraduate faculties, the letters, economics, law, business in the social science areas, and science and technology. And in medical areas, we have School of Medicine, Natural Medical Care, Pharmacy. And in this interdisciplinary area, we have Policy Management and Environmental Information Studies. And this GIGA program, red one, GIGA, and PAL, offering the English programs for undergraduate studies. And we have 14 graduate schools. I won't go through it, but those red ones actually offering English programs. So don't worry. For those who do not understand or do not speak Japanese, you may come to Japan with your English. And the Keio University, after founded in 1858, we are the first institution for higher learning in Japan. And our founder is Yukichi Fukuzawa. This is the Mita Public Speaking Hall. This is the first one in Japan. Everybody can come here to speak what they want to speak. And as the Ms. Kushina explained, the Yukichi Fukuzawa is famous in Japan because he's on the face of 10,000 notes. You can see every day. And we have 33,500 students. And among them, we have 2,000 overseas students. And staff is about 3,000. Quite a big university. And we have powerful global alumni network. Because the history more than 160 years, 370,000 alumni are there, and they are actively in all over the world. And we have alumni network called Mitakai, and we have more than 800 of them in Japan, all over the country, also all over the companies or organizations. And we have 70 of them in all over the world. So wherever you go, you can meet our alumni. And we also have a lot of collaboration with the overseas universities. And we have more than 140 exchange programs. Those in United States or China, UK, France, a lot of them. And this is 1-year exchange program usually. And you don't need to pay the high tuition fees for those countries, but you only pay for the tuition fee for Keio University. You can go there. And all the credit you earn will be transferred to Keio University. So if it's undergraduate, you can still graduate in 4 years. So not only experience in Japan, but also how about experience in other country too. So now about Shonan Fujita campus, the campus I belong. Compared to the Keio University history, it is founded in 1990. So quite young compared to that, our whole university. And we have 2 undergraduate faculties, Faculty of Policy Management and Faculty of Environment Information Studies. The environment studies is more close to the technology area, and the policy management is close to the social science areas, but we don't somehow distinguish them. They are somehow we call twin faculties. The humanity and science, combine them together is very important, we think. Or interdisciplinary studies is very important. For the graduate school, we have one graduate school called Media and Governance. And why choose Keio University or SFC? This campus actually created for the future. We call all the students are coming from the future. So we create the students for the future. And diverse environment here, or superficial curriculum, or lifelong bonds and network, and beautiful surroundings. We are a little away from Tokyo, so you can see a lot of good surroundings are here. And like Shizuoka University, we can see Mount Fuji, not every day, but sometimes we can see very beautifully from our campus too. And this is our curriculum for the undergrad, 4-year, and 2-year in the master degree. Also, if you go on, there's the doctoral course as well. And for the undergrads, usually university, it is separated for 2-year for the somehow fundamental courses and 3 and 4-year for the special courses. But Shonan Fujita campus, we don't have any distinction. So those who come first may jump into the advanced courses, or later on you may go back to the beginners courses, or mix it together. Just dividing the fundamental subjects and the advanced subjects. There's no grade boundary or whatever. And finally, you may finish the graduate project. And in the middle, the seminar here, Kenkyukai we call it. This will guide you whatever you want to study. The seminar is a group controlled by the professor, and every week students and professor meet together and discuss the problems they have. And the professor will guide you to what they need to study. And because the curriculum is very flexible, there's no grade boundary. It doesn't take 4 years. You can even finish in 3.5 years. Or you can combine the bachelor and master course in 4 years. So 3 years in bachelor course and 1 year master course, you get 2 degrees together. And as I mentioned, it is centered on the sameness. We call it project-based learning. And variety of language you can study, not only English, but Japanese or Chinese or French, German, I don't remember, but the 8 of them you can study. Or practical research, education, social contributions are there. And also we have an incubation villages here, so that those who aim to start their own business, we can support. And policy management, social science areas, and environmental information studies, technological areas. But we have a lot of areas. We don't have any specific departments and so on. So a lot of areas you can study. And the important thing is you can mix them together. Even if you may enter the environment study, you may study the area of the policy management. You may be supervised by 2 professors, one from environment information studies and another one from the policy management. That is even possible. And research area, we have self-driving vehicles or artificial intelligence area or drones or fabrication areas or language studies or architecture or social contributions, computing areas or design areas. And the most important thing, once again, I would like to tell you is combination of technology and social issues. Like automatic car driving is coming to our society very soon. And that is technology, information technology or global position system, those things, artificial intelligence, vision recognition is very important to support this autonomous vehicle and so on. But what happens if the traffic accident occurs? We need to think about it. Like we may need to traffic law or insurance policy, we need to think about it. There's no driver in the future. So we need to change those social issues. So those combining social issues and technology is very important. Now about student life, we have over 500 clubs or circles, athletic clubs, and so on. So anything you want to do, you can do it. You can enjoy your student life here in Keio University. Now I'll give you the mic to the Hideo, who is currently a master student of our campus. Hideo.
Hi everyone, I'm Hideo, and I was first an undergraduate at SFC, and now I'm a master's student. Hagino-sensei, if you can go to the next slide. So yeah, I graduated in 2014 from school in India from ISC Science. So I did physics, chemistry, math, like a lot of you might have done before. And then I spent 2 years in the US working as a stage technician. And after that, I came to KOSFC and graduated in 2020 in August. And now I'm a master's student. So next slide, please. I think you skipped one. Yeah, so well, why Japan? There's a lot of reasons. First of all, I'm half Japanese, so I always wanted to come here, but there's a lot more reasons than that. I think Japan is a really, really convenient environment to be a student in. It allows you to study without a lot of distractions, and it's very convenient. There's a lot to see, and you know, it's just a very fun and conducive environment to be a student in. Next slide, please. But why SFC? Well, SFC, as you might have noticed from Hagino-sensei's presentation, allows you to mix and match a lot of very unique fields. I started off my journey at SFC studying quantum computing, and eventually I transitioned to design research, and I was doing graphic design related stuff. And right now I'm doing research related to music. So it's a lot of different fields that you can mix and match, and it's all got to do with how you can apply it in daily life, in the real world. And so its focus is on what you can do right now and in the future. Next slide, please. I'm currently studying computational musicology, and my research is funded by Yamaha, where I'm looking at how Indian musicians from North and South perceive and produce music differently. I use tools in machine learning, data science, sociology, psychology, and combine all of them to explore how we experience music. Okay, next slide, please. So one of the perks of going to SFC is that as an undergraduate, I was able to travel to conferences and work as a researcher all over the world. So in 2018, I got to go to Paris for a conference and present my research. I went to Austria in 2017. I did a visiting research kind of internship kind of thing in London in 2020. And I also went for a conference in 2019 in Thailand. Next slide, please. There's a lot of job opportunities, and a lot of them come from meeting current students at SFC. So my friends and my upperclassmen all introduced me to all these companies like Google Fonts, CyberAgent, which is a really big tech company in Japan. And I've also had an opportunity to start my own business. So I'm currently running a really small business that makes interactive media and video games. So there's a lot of opportunities for collaboration here. And next slide, I think this is the last slide, right? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Hideo. I hope you understand what your life may be in Japan. Now about scholarships and housing. The annual tuition fee, the undergraduate about, we calculated USD, the 12,000 US dollars for undergraduate and 13,000 US dollars for the graduate school. And adding to the living costs, we compare the Keio University or private USA university or public United States universities or UK universities or Australian or Singapore. Compared to that, very competitive. So why not come to Japan to study or Keio to study? And we also have scholarships, especially for this GIGA program. This is the undergraduate course. GIGA actually, I haven't explained what it means. Global Information and Governance Academic Program. We created the about several years ago. That was the first English program in Keio University. The courses are fully taught in English. Or after coming to Japan, if you study Japanese, you may take Japanese courses. And we have for this GIGA applicants, we have the Menta Mitakai scholarship. the entrance fee, academic fee, all covered for 4 years. If you get it, you can study free almost. And also we have the Masatada Kobayashi. This is our graduate, giving you the 1 million yen per year for linear for up to 4 years. And that is before coming to Japan. So you can sure your financial before coming to Japan. And we also have, after enrollment, K University has a lot of scholarships, K University one, or next scholarship one, or just one, or other entities. I heard there are more than 200 of them for the international students. And about accommodations, we have accommodation around us. Now this is our campus, and we have the Shonan Fujisawa International Dormitory. The monthly cost is this amount, and we are also building a new one on campus. This is just off campus, next to our campus. This one is the on campus one. Will be open in March 2023. So by the time you may come, this is open. Also, we have a Domi Shonan Fujisawa too. This is just 5 minutes by bus or something like that, or even you can walk to Domi Shonan too. And how to apply the GIGA program? The application guide is not ready yet for the next year, but it will soon be available. So you can check from this QR code or the URL. Maybe our staff will put in the chat box. And the screenings, you don't need to come to Japan. So also no written tests, no interviews. And how can we select is the only by submittal of documents and 3-minute video instead of the interviews. And there's no cutoff minimum scores for the SAT, ACT, IB, or GCE, or the probably, since you are taught in English, you don't need to submit about TOEFL or IELTS or TOEIC scores. And the eligibility for this GIGA program is applicants who have spent at least 2 of the last 3 years in secondary education where the medium instruction was other than Japanese, or Japanese who submit SAT and TOEFL. And timing application is January 2021. No, January 2022, probably. Yes, this is a mistake. And something you need to do the online, and actually the certificates need to be sent by post. And we'll announce the successful application in the March. And if you want to know more about the admissions, not only about this GIGA program for other admission, please look up our admission information. This QR code will lead you to our webpage. Thank you very much. We are looking forward to seeing you at SFC.
Thank you, Professor Hagino and Mr. Daigoku for the presentation. From my experience, I'm also a student at in the GIGA program at Kyoto University, and I can certainly say that the GIGA program, especially, it really helps students widen their perspective, and students are allowed to experiment with different subjects and correlate them and actually find their field of interest. So thank you, Mr. Daigoku and Professor Hagino, on explaining that aspect as well. And now we'll begin with the 5-minute Q&A session. So if there are questions you would like to particularly answer, you can check the Q&A box.
There are many, so.
It might be a little confusing, so I can help you with picking up a few questions. Are there courses in graphic design and animation at Keio University?
Animation, we used to have a professor to doing it, but not exactly the vocational school. In Japan, usually vocational school will teach you the animation and those techniques. But the concept of animation or graphics, the concept of graphics technology will be taught in our campus as well as the science and technology.
All right, thank you. Are there any summer or winter internship opportunities for international students?
Yes, we try to have international students. It's a little bit difficult because of the around us a Japanese company are there, so it's difficult. But some will accept international students.
Could you elaborate a little on quantum computing at SFC?
Yeah, so we have
Yes.
Professor Van Meter, who does research in quantum computing, which is basically using quantum physics to simulate computers. It's very cutting edge, and a lot of it's theoretical and mathematics related. If you do a quick Google search or go on YouTube, you'll find out a lot more information about the field.
All right. How about the doctoral programs at Keio University?
The 14 graduate school, most of them have master and doctor courses. Law school do not have it, but other than that, we have doctor courses. And I belong to the media and governance. We have the master and doctor courses too. Yes, the master is usually 2 years, and doctor takes 3 or 4 or 5, depending on the students. But the good doctor courses are well.
Okay.
Someone asked about UI UX courses. Yes, there are courses in UI UX at SFC. Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other questions you'd like to particularly answer?
We about the online. Yes, because of COVID-19, currently some of them are online, but we are coming back. We try to. So whenever possible, we welcome students to come to the campus to the actual face-to-face lectures. So, and in the fall, we will have more.
Is the EJU is it mandatory to take the EJU examination?
For the GIGA, this English courses is not not mandatory, not necessary at all. But for the Japanese courses, usually they require EJU.
Okay. And are there courses on sustainability and renewable energy? So
Yes.
more related to like environmental sciences.
Yes, we also have SDGs or those researches. Yes, very active.
Could you talk a little about the Kenkyukais available at SFC?
Oh, Kenkyukai, the research seminars.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Actually, it's very unique. Usually, Kenkyukai starts from the 3rd year, 4th year of the undergraduate courses, but for this SFC GIGA courses, including GIGA courses, actually, it may start from the 1st year. Just after the 1st semester, students can join to one Kenkyukai. And from then on, they can choose from the 2nd year, 2nd grade, they can choose 2 Kenkyukais. Even you can mix them together. The one from environment university, another one from the social science areas or the policy management. And you can continue to the end of the 4th grade, or you may change the Kenkyukai depending on your interest. The very flexible kind of Kenkyukai is different from the other universities, very unique.
A couple of students have asked if there's mechatronics as a subject at your university.
Mechatronics, the mechanical engineering is close to.
I suppose, yes.
It's in the Yagami campus. The science and technology actually handling the mechanical engineering. Yes. Unfortunately, it's taught in Japanese, but for the master course, it's taught in English.
Okay. And are there courses on big data and business intelligence?
Yes, we are trying to have that kind of course. Yes, it's currently very important now. So a lot of researchers are doing the big data or deep learning, those artificial intelligence apply to the various fields.
Okay, we can pick up one more question. Is there anything you'd like to answer?
I think in general, somebody asked what kind of a profile are they looking for an undergraduate. I think we're looking for someone who's like really creative and is trying to explore new things. and combine different subject areas. I think SFC's focuses on people of the future, like Hagino Sensei had just mentioned. And that's exactly the kind of person we're looking for.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Hagino and Mr. Daikoku for the presentation. You can continue answering the questions even when other universities are presenting. And it would be great if you can share a few links in the chat box provided so that students can refer to them.
Thank
And
you.
once again, thank you so much for the presentation. I will share the agenda once again. Okay, lastly, we have a presentation by University of Tsukuba. So Tsukuba University is an acclaimed national university in Japan. It provides some of the best programs to international students in a myriad of fields, especially sciences. It has established several research centers for undergraduate, graduate, and PhD students. The university is also home to several Nobel laureates and Olympians. Now I'd like to request Mr. Shah to give us an insight into the university.
Thank you, Ms. Koshi, for the kind introduction. My name is Mari Katsumata Shah, and I represent the University of Tsukuba. It's a real honor for me to stand alongside these wonderful universities. So thank you to Professor Deo, to Professor Hagino, to Mr. Daikoku, and Ms. Koshi for the presentations, and also, of course, to the staff at Tokyo University for arranging this very important evening. So without further ado, I'm going to now present my presentation. So just one second, let me just share the screen and just saying too many things. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So hopefully you can see my screen. And
yes, it's visible. Thank you so much.
Okay, good. And so Tsukuba is a name of a city. It's a science city. Science city means when I say science city, you can imagine a place like Palo Alto in California, which has which has all those tech companies. Tsukuba is about 45 minutes away from Tokyo. So it's in the countryside, and in the picture here you see these twin peaks here, and they're collectively known as Mount Tsukuba. It's a very beautiful place, and the mountain is beautiful, but also the whole area is very green, and I'm surrounded by nature, and I love jogging here. I jog several times a week, and so it's a great place for walking and taking walk or So in that sense, it is about 1 hour away from the international airport, Narita International Airport as well. And so location-wise, you can go to Tokyo, or you can just simply go to Tokyo and then go somewhere else. So it's in an ideal location, but also you also are living in nature, and rents are cheaper, and so on. So there's more peace and quiet, but then there's also the excitement of the city, reachable within an hour. But most importantly, it is a place where half of the R&D budget of the Japanese government is spent. Okay, so that means that there are about 30 national research institutes and 200 private research institutes situated here. It is said that one out of 10 people have PhDs here. And several languages are spoken because people are not just working in University of Tsukuba, but they're contributing, researching in different research institutes situated in the city. So you can hear, Hindi, Chinese, English, of course, French and German, and all this, and all this, Malay, Malaysian language, and you hear all these languages spoken in the center of the city. So for me, it's like it's a very interesting place because I lived for many years in Tokyo and Yokohama, and so it's a very kind of different experience for me. We're going to talk about this gentleman here. His name is Dr. Jigoro Kano. We call him Kano Sensei. And he invented judo. Okay, everybody knows judo, right? Everybody knows the sport, where you wear white clothes and you earn a black belt and you throw people around, basically. But actually, he was the one who created a whole philosophy around it. He actually researched, and he was of small stature, and he got bullied a lot when he was a kid. So then he trained himself to defend himself, and then he consulted several, people of the Bushido class to teach him how to defend himself in hand-to-hand combat. Then he finally came up with judo. So he was a sportsman, and he was also an educator. He started a teachers' college where he trained the new generation teachers who were, preparing the generations to come for the Meiji Restoration and the modernization of Japan. He looks very Oriental and Japanese. He was, but he was also very international. He used his own personal funds to bring in 7,000 international students to his college. Yeah. And he was the first Asian member of the International Olympic Committee, which was a very big deal at the time because it was such a white man's club back then. And he was the first one to be there. So you can see him wearing a bowler hat and a nice three-piece suit and talking to IOC members. And he wanted to have the Olympics in Japan. Couldn't happen due to war, ultimately due to wars and conflict. But it came into fruition or reality in 1964, and now we're doing it this year again in 2021. So we have, he's part of our DNA, and therefore we have worked very hard to recruit and bring in international students, researchers to our university. Our university is about 16,000, between 16,000 and 17,000 people strong, and out of who over 2,000 students from abroad, from 110 countries. And so our thing is that we use the word transnational transporter a lot. We are trying to, sort of forget that we have boundaries between each other, right? And we are united by science and knowledge, pursuit of science and knowledge. So, we have at the moment 29 students from India in the undergraduate, graduate levels. And obviously, we would like to have more Indian students. The interdisciplinary approaches to education research is the founding philosophy here. And the thing is, with many Japanese universities, it is very rare to have a comprehensive set of departments. I'll just show you this next slide. Sorry, I'll show it to you later. But there is our university has 9 faculties, sorry, so we have the arts department, we have the sports department, we have the medical department, we have the engineering, applied physics, and and informatics and information sciences, and so we have a whole array. And then not only that, and we focus on close communication and collaboration between these disciplines. I think that you can hear this term multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary a lot this evening. There's a reason behind that. The problem is that there are too many complex problems now on the earth, and we are, for example, COVID is a prime example of that. It is a result of several different factors, coming together, and it's a systemic problem, right? And so we have no awareness of, we don't see systems. Systems are invisible to us. Most systems are invisible to us. But it affects us greatly. And so in order to understand problems that we're facing, we need to have approaches from different angles and at the same time. And those angles, those people have to talk to each other. So that's the reason behind interdisciplinarity, I think. We have, of course, cutting edge research in supercomputing, nanotechnology, personal care robotics, blah, blah, blah. But our emphasis is that it's just very kind of, there's a lot of communication amongst faculties. Before going further, this is really important to us. Speaking of the Earth, the planet, we are ranked best in Japan for 6 SDG categories. So we are ranked first in SDGs 11, 17, and 15. We're very proud of that. It is our research and our practice reflects that, I think. I'm going to talk about undergraduate levels programs first, and then I'm going to talk about graduate schools later. Okay, so that I do justice to both groups who are listening today. Okay, so graduate students, just wait, don't go. And here, the recommended programs at undergraduate level is such: life environmental science, international social sciences, global issues, interdisciplinary engineering, and Japan expert. And I was saying earlier that we have this whole array of programs available, and then we have these, and out of these, not all of them are taught in English. Okay, Japanese universities and Tsukuba as well is trying to internationalize as quickly as possible. But at the moment, we have 40+ degree programs available in undergraduate and graduate levels, and 2,800 classes are taught in English. And the first program, that undergraduate program that I'm going to introduce, is interdisciplinary engineering. Okay, so I've got the QR code set up here, so you can scan away and start looking now. Interdisciplinarity is that these 4 applied physics topics are studied in the first 2 years, and then you focus on 1 or 2 topics in the last 2 years. Yeah, and the reason behind interdisciplinarity is that everything will be interconnected due to IoT the next 10 years. It doesn't make sense to create specific engineering topics. It makes more sense to have it interdisciplinary from the get-go, because things are going to change anyway, right? 10 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to talk like this. I delved a lot into digital marketing. That was not really a profession, a real profession like 10 years ago. But now it is. You cannot do without digital marketing. So in that sense, it is, things are changing and have changed over the last, at breakneck speed, I might add, in the last 1 year, as you all know. So, so for engineers, it's really important to be really flexible and to look at all aspects of the profession. Another thing is, I've been talking about the pandemic and all, but there are so many other issues that are affecting the planet, and systemic issues. So we are looking to train the next generation of human resources to go into international agencies, such as the ones related to the United Nations, or such as WHO or FAO, or the and so on. So here it is students study environmental sciences and social sciences, and they do it through project-based learning style, and they try to solve the major problems that are faced by human populations on this planet. Other one is if you want to go into life environmental sciences and if you want to go into pure biology, for example, then this is the right program for you. It's a BSc course and offered in these 3 topics, yeah, agrobio and also geosciences. And then you have international social studies. So you look, if you want to study, you want to have sort of like a interdisciplinary approach, looking into social sciences. Then we have this program here: economics, law, political science, sociology courses are taught, and students, look at, things, issues, societies, from these 4 different angles. And that's it for undergraduate courses. So there are 4 undergraduate courses in general that are taught in English. So I want you to take a look. If you're a high school student, then remember that for these 4 programs, you don't need Japanese, okay? You need to show that you speak English though, okay? So go into these websites and check the requirements, okay? Go to these websites and check the requirements. There are 4 programs: engineering, global issues, social sciences, and environmental science and biological science, basically. And now, moving on, graduate schools. So here, if you are a university student, if you're working but want to go into graduate schools in Japan, we have these three clusters, okay? And for example, if you take a look at degree programs in comprehensive human sciences, and let's say that you are a heritage studies student, and you need to know a little bit more about, for some reason, you need to know more about, let's say, education, right? Then if you have a course that you can take, if the professors on both sides agree, then you can walk over to the education department and take a course, right? And maybe apply some of those ideas, principles into your research. So same with, let's say degree programs in life and earth sciences. If you are a geosciences student, researcher, and you need to know more about, let's say, you need to gain more knowledge in chemistry, let's say, then you will walk over to the chemistry department to take courses, a course there, or courses, and then you will bring back that information to your department. So it's not always, it's not possible for everything to happen because many of the courses are not taught in English, but then in many cases, many of them are taught in English. So it's possible to, it's possible and also it's encouraged. This is the kind of thing that I was talking about earlier. Okay, so here, I'm now going to move on to the next one. I'm going to give you some examples of programs that are already interdisciplinary or by nature. And so we have the human biology program here, and it is again basically you're looking at the human biology through computational science, material sciences, medicine, and biological sciences. Okay, so if this rings a bell, please go ahead and look at this website. Okay, this is Empowerment Informatics. It is a contribution or interaction between informatics, engineering, arts, psychology, neurosciences, clinical medicine. That, it's highly interdisciplinary, and you're looking at creating systems that would empower people. So, for example, disabled people will help them walk better, or you may be doing a research on augmented realities or virtual realities, and so on and so forth. And then there's a program on life sciences innovation, which includes studies on food innovation, on let's say biomolecular engineering is taught here, or drug discovery is studied here. So this is again, if this rings a bell, this program might be for you. This is humanics, and in this, students will be assigned to academic advisors, one from the physical sciences and the other from biomedical sciences. And here are some Venn diagrams of what students have done before. For example, top left here, orthopedics and cybernetics. Okay, bottom right here, meta recognition and brain imaging. Yeah. So this is what I was talking about earlier, which is that in order to look into up and coming problems, you need to look at it from two different angles. Yeah, and many more angles. So this is the kind of thing that is a good example of what SCUBA stands for. Here, because Dr. Jigoro Kano, Dr. Kano was a sportsman, we have an excellent and highly ranked sports management course, and here we have Olympic and Paralympic education and coaching, sports sciences courses that are taught here, and you can earn a master's degree here. I was talking a little bit about heritage studies. Environmental degradation is affecting heritage sites around the world. And so we have, again, a multidisciplinary group of teachers here from different disciplines, training people. So for example, the picture here is of Angkor Wat. And here we have students, we have a student there who's working on preserving these ancient ruins. And not just this country, but several, they're all over the world, graduates, and they work in preserving heritage sites. Okay, So, those are some examples of multidisciplinary graduate programs. Okay. Now, a little bit about student support. We have academic advisors. We have a personal tutor who will be assigned to you for 40 hours a year. We have English-speaking staff. We have English counseling. We have medical services provided all in English. Okay, so you don't need Japanese to be here. For when you're applying to English programs, you don't need the EJU or the JLPT, any of those Japanese language proficiency tests. But since, when you're in Japan, you should study Japanese. It's a beautiful language. If you learn Japanese, if you achieve intermediate, at least intermediate level, during your stay here, it will improve your chances of getting jobs, careers here. Okay. So attend our Japanese language courses. And for undergraduate students, it's mandatory to take Japanese. So here's a website and app for you for free for you to start studying Japanese ASAP, right? So please consider that and start studying Japanese. Yeah. Okay. And in terms of housing, we have these options and so on and so forth. There's food courts, there's halal food restaurants, there's a Starbucks on campus, there's a supermarket, blah blah blah, and so on. Now, I am now going to focus on something really important for you graduate students, and this is how to apply for graduate schools. Okay. It's really important to understand the difference between applying to a graduate school in America, let's say, and applying to a graduate school in Japan. Okay. For example, if you apply to graduate school in, let's say, United States or England, you apply to a school of such and such, right? Let's say a school of, I don't know, applied physics, let's say, right? And then you enter and you provide the credentials, and if they like you, they take you, and you work out the finances, and then you enter the school, and then you're assigned a professor, right? Or you choose a professor once you go in. But in Japan, basically all graduate schools are a cluster of labs. Yeah. And when you apply to a grad school in Japan, you apply to a lab first, right? And the labs are run by professors who get their funding from agencies in Japan and all over. And so they are the ones who will sponsor you, who will take you in, and who will train you. So there's sort of like this difference of approach. And that's why I believe that most professors in these webinars would say that you need to get to know an advisor when applying, okay? So I'm gonna show you or talk to you briefly about how to do this, and I'm hoping that this will help you, okay? Not just in applying here. I think that this is very common all over. In most Japanese universities, you have to look for an academic advisor when you apply to graduate schools in Japan. Okay, so take this as a case study. All right. So let's say you go into this website. Okay, you click here, and then you will see this application guidelines. And I'll be very honest with you, it is not the best website in the world, and that is the case with many websites in Japan. They're not, honestly, they're not the best in terms of usability. Because I was educated in the U.S., so I'm just used to like getting to things in 3 clicks, and that's not the case with many websites in Japan. So it can be a little bit confusing, and there are reasons behind that complexity. So I ask that you be patient. Okay. So let's say that you go to the application guidelines, right? And let's say that you go into this, you look into this section called Graduate School of Science and Technology. Let's say that you clicked on the top. Choose a program of interest, okay? And look at the admission procedure, yeah? So this is a master's program in mathematics. You want to, do a master's in math. And then you go there, and really the first thing you should do is, when's the due date, okay? So it is the, and what is the flow, and you need to pay money, yeah, at the application fee. It's much cheaper compared to the US, but you still need to pay money through credit card, okay? And and you look at the document submission date here, for example, right? So, for example, for for the September start date, you have to submit documents between July in the first 2 weeks of July. So it's actually a very narrow window, right? So so this is something that you need to know. The total time spent on this is 2 months. Okay, so you need to know this beforehand. Yeah. And then also you need to do the following. Okay, and I will hopefully share this PDF video later. Okay, but check your eligibility. Okay? You need to have 16 years of a school of education, basic education. Okay, and at the bottom here it says it's not necessary to earn a bachelor's degree of engineering to apply for a degree program related to engineering is an example. Okay, so one good thing about Japan is that you can switch disciplines. It's not necessary for engineer, for somebody who wants to go into a particular field to go from a different particular field, to coming from a different particular field. It might be possible. Of course, you need to please the admission staff. Okay, then this is the most important point. Okay, contact your prospective advisor. Okay, obtain consent to be a supervisor and consult your research plan in advance. Okay, so this is like a database called Trios that we have. Go there and check and type in your keyword. Okay, so for example, if it is I don't know, like genetic engineering, then type into it and look at it. It'll come up with a list of professors, and look into as many professors as possible, and see if you get to even read a few abstracts of their papers. And then when you apply, you know which professors really speak to you the most. Okay, and be very specific with your proposal. You need to have. So then you need to go through the rest, right? The web entries here, and all this is like very straightforward. You just follow the flow, okay? And these are some of the requirements. Your research plan is needed here, okay? What do you want to do in terms of research? All right. So this is the same. Actually, basically, when you're applying for undergraduate, you write an essay, right? And so when you apply for graduate school, you're kind of writing an essay, but it's much more, it's a little bit more detailed. It has to do with what you want to do in your research, right? And you can look it up on Google, how to write research plans and all, okay? So here, and then explain or provide these pieces of information, okay? And you can do these with electronically, but then ultimately you absolutely have to send these by airmail. So this is part of the difficulty here. Okay, and here and look at the requirements of each program. Okay, so that's my advice. Yeah, so these are our websites. Okay, so if you're undergraduate, I recommend going here. If you're a graduate student, I recommend going there. Okay, yeah. So that's about it for me. And I hope that this was useful for you. So thank you very much. And sorry, I took a long time speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shah, for the detailed presentation. Now we'll start the 5-minute Q&A session. So there are a couple of questions in the Q&A box, so you can pick up a few.
Okay. Okay, so what are requirements for masters in computer science? CS means computer science, I think. So definitely go into the computer sciences department website and check it. Okay, it's very simple. So just Google it, yeah, and write down computer science University at Tsukuba, and you'll be taken to the website there and just check it. Okay, and please let me know about one-year professional study program. After, I don't understand this question. One-year professional study program after, and it's cut off. Yeah. Okay. So, what are the opportunities for MTech for biomedical engineering with scholarship? Again, you will have to go into. You'll have to do a search here. Okay. And for example, there are a variety of programs that might address your area. Okay, so two different programs might be addressing your area. So I don't know specifically what aspect of biomedical engineering you're referring to. Okay,
I'm
so
sorry for the interruption, but
yes,
I've shared a few links of Tsukuba University in the chat box. So if
okay,
you want to check the list of undergraduate or graduate programs at the university, please have a look at the links shared in the chat box.
okay, got it. And I think there's so many questions here.
I can
Ms.
pick a
Koshi, can you
few.
help me
Yeah, sure,
pick up a few? Would be, I think it
sure.
would be more efficient use of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there courses on big data or business intelligence?
Big data business, there are
I
courses on, yes.
I think what the student means is that are there courses on computer science um, or business management, something
There,
in that.
yes,
Uh,
they are both available. Yeah, for if you're looking for computer sciences, then there is a master's in computer science taught in English, and in it there's research done on big data science, of course on that, and we have an AI research center here, which is well renowned, and also in terms of MBA schools, we have an MBA school in Tokyo. And there you can get a you can do a 2-year degree, ending up with MBA degree, of course. But you need to have 3 years of working experience for that. So you need to be working. You need to have worked 3 years full time in a company. So that's a precondition.
okay. How about scholarships? Are there internal or external scholarships provided to international
Yeah,
students?
to be honest, internal scholarships are getting scarce, and of course there are some external scholarships as well. So I will, so I will then share a couple of links with you, okay? And in such a case, Ms. Kushi, should I put it up on the chat box, maybe?
Yes, you could. Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
got it. Yeah.
Also, is JLPT required for undergraduate, graduate, or PhD courses, PhD programs?
Well, if you want to go into a Japanese program, then yes, it is required. But if you are applying for an English program, it is not required. Yeah.
Okay. And is TOEFL or IELTS mandatory?
TOEFL or IELTS is mandatory if they is mandatory. Yes, for graduate schools, it is mandatory. For undergraduate schools, it is mandatory. But if you have been studying in English medium school for the last 3 years, in terms for this is for high school students, you might not need it. So this is again, you need to check with the program that you're applying to. Yeah.
Okay. We can pick up two more questions.
Okay.
Are there
And
any entrance examinations that students need to take?
yes, there are entrance examinations that students need to take, but due to due to increasing due to you know um, due to COVID and all, and travel has been impossible. Sending stuff even was impossible for many areas around the world last year. So they have reverted to many programs have relied on online interviews and so on. So documentation online interviews is more common than examinations.
Okay. And when is the next intake for international students?
Next intake, so for international students would be, let's say, if you're looking at undergraduate programs, then the application deadline would be late November, early December. Okay, so keep looking at the website. Yeah, and for graduate programs, the application deadline would be around Christmas time this year, right? And that's for next year. So that's for semesters starting in September or October next year.
Okay, thank you. Oh, one last question. Are there master's programs in liberal arts?
In the liberal arts,
Yes.
um, are there well, we don't have a liberal arts program in English. Yeah.
Okay.
So I believe that they have one in Japanese, and it's actually it's an up and coming new course, but unfortunately, it's not taught in English at the moment.
Okay, thank you so much for answering the questions.
No problem.
I
And
think
Ms. Hoshi,
yes.
I put up a financial aid scholarships link here.
Okay.
So if somehow you can share with them or the person who's asking this question, I'm sure there are many people, this will help, I think. Yeah.
Okay. I think students can save these links for reference, and also these recordings will be uploaded in the UTokyo India office site. So please have a look at it as well. And thank you so much, Mr. Shah, for giving us such a detailed presentation. And I hope all the students got a clear idea of the programs available at Tsukuba University. And this marks the end of our webinar. Thank you to all the panelists and attendees for participating in today's webinar. The recordings of the webinars conducted earlier are uploaded to the UTokyo India office site, and the link is shared in the chat box. Also, please feel free to contact the universities personally for additional information. Once again, thank you for attending the webinar, and we hope to see you in the coming webinars.